It's been a whirlwind type of week for student loan borrowers. President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness plan has been put on hold once again after a federal judge in Missouri placed an injunction on the president's loan cancellation plan on Thursday. This comes just hours after the president scored a brief victory from another judge in Georgia. For more on what this means for you and for your student loan debt, we've got Jan Miller, who is the president and student loan consultant over at Miller Student Loan Consulting. Great to have you here with us. So let's just dive into this. I mean, how much of a kind of DOA or, blockage is this now that Missouri has essentially just said, you know what, for whatever Georgia said, we're not going to allow this to advance any further?
Yeah. So it really keeps us the same place we were at before. Again, you said the victory was very temporary. It allowed them to proceed with the new, what's called the Plan B program, which is the follow-up forgiveness to the one that was turned down by the Supreme Court last year. This one is more detailed and specific to specific situations. And not long after it was put into place, did the court cases start, lawsuits happen, and the injunction get placed. Georgia lifted it, but then Missouri put it right back on, and we're back to where we were.
And so with this in mind, I mean, for student loan borrowers that have had a flurry of different deadlines that they've had to navigate, especially towards the end of September, and then the crashing of the site, and then an extension of the ability to enroll in a Fresh Start program, where does this really place so much of the future prospect for those who are looking at rates right now and trying to figure out how they can best position their own financial strategy around their student loan propensity, and then on the other side, the amount that they're still carrying right now?
Well, yeah, this is, not only, of course, the injunction on the Plan B, but also on the SAVE program has really, thrown a wrench into a lot of student loan repayment strategies and plans with the anticipation of forgiveness. So a lot of borrowers are in repayment programs that are designed to forgive the loan after a certain number of years. And both the Plan B and the SAVE program are designed to accelerate that forgiveness. And in which case, your cost of the loan isn't based on the typical amortization schedule of a regular loan, principal plus interest over time, but rather off of cumulative payments until the loan is forgiven. So a lot of people have been banking on that, and millions of borrowers now, probably somewhere between 10 and 30 million borrowers potentially could see forgiveness under these programs. And right now they're giving second thoughts to whether they should even be in them.
It's often that we talk about the credit worthiness and how it's impacted by people who are still carrying student loans and in some cases unable to pay over an extended period of time. And that student loans can also impact your financial status when you're either getting married or going into family formation or trying to buy a home. How much of an economic lift would we see if there was a concerted effort to make sure that there is student loan forgiveness?
Yeah, I mean, when the loans are forgiven, that frees up a lot of cash flow, right? I mean, now you don't have to make your student loan payment. And some of those repayment terms are 30 years long. So people are in debt for a long period of time. And from my point of view, I see a lot of clients and borrowers who owe many times what they make yearly. So they may make $50,000 a year and owe $150,000. And that's unfortunately far too common, especially for graduate borrowers who get into the biggest amount of debt. So not having a portion of that loan forgiven or an eventual promise forgiveness after a certain number of years makes a huge impact on what they can spend now, and feed into the economy.
Want to give people some actionable tips as they perhaps do a end of quarter check-in on their finances and plot out their spending for the fourth quarter of this year as well here and try to figure out their student loan payment strategy. How can people set and enact an effective strategy to pay down student loan debt?
Well, yeah, and that's the problem with the strategy is that it's constantly changing, right? This injunction are only a few months old. The SAVE program is only about a year old. The programs keep changing. There's new options, new potential for forgiveness, and then the potential for that forgiveness going away. So, depending on those programs, can seem a little bit scary. So you have to constantly reevaluate, because what I tell you now might not be true in a month after the next court hearing. Ultimately, I do believe that a majority of the forgiveness programs, such as public service loan forgiveness and the income-driven repayment plans, will still be around after all these court cases are over. The SAVE program may be gone. It is possible that some of the others might be canceled, but there should be something available for borrowers to receive forgiveness for. And if they're on pace for that right now, I just caution, have some patience, allow this to unfold. Don't take any dramatic changes and try and drop the program completely. Allow this process to take place and then reevaluate. So for now, in most cases, my advice is just to stay put and continue in the programs and allow what happens to happen, see what the rulings are, and then reassess your situation at that time.
All right, a lot of movement. Jan Miller, who is the president and student loan consultant over at Miller Student Loan Consulting. Thanks so much for taking the time, Jan.
Thank you.